So the government is shut down, but also the government is not shut down. It's kind of like when your phone says it's at 1%, but somehow you're still doom scrolling and ignoring your responsibilities. What we're going to do is break down what's happening, which agencies are funded, which aren't, and three real examples of what actually stops, including IRS tax season drama, federal research, and housing assistance. And if you run a government contracting business, stick around because this is when invoice becomes a suspense genre. If you haven't been paying attention to what is going on in Washington, D.C., this is a short, very concise overview of what's happening so you understand the background. Here's the situation. Congress missed its budget deadline, and a partial shutdown began at 12:01 a.m. Saturday, January 31st. It's partial because some agencies already got funded while others are stuck in budget limbo. The political knot tying it all up, well, it's funding for the Department of Homeland Security. It got tangled up with demands for new accountability measures for immigration enforcement. And because DHS was bundled with other departments in this budgetary request, the stalemate shut down more than just DHS. The good news is this. Leaders are signaling that this could end quickly, possibly within days. The bad news is quickly and Washington, D.C. can still mean please enjoy your week or weeks of chaos. However, even inside of this chaos is some really good information that we can take and use to inform our business decisions. First off, let's make it painfully clear with the shutdown cheat code. Here is the funded list and the not funded list. Above me right here is these agencies are funded right now. Just take a look at that. So yeah, you see that? NASA's funded, which is comforting because if everything goes sideways in the United States of America, we can at least still leave and get to another planet. But before you jump off to that new planet, let's get on the other side of the coin when it comes to what hasn't been funded. Well, the not funded list is right here above me, right? Take a look at that. These agents are currently in that kind of shutdown territory. And here's the thing. This is the important nuance that you may not understand. Not funded doesn't always mean everything stops instantly. Some employees are furloughed, some are required to work unpaid, some contractors are furloughed, some contractors are required to work unpaid, and some critical functions keep moving because safety and security don't take weekends off. But to make this real, let's do three examples of three agencies, one major, this is what closes item each. Getting to the first agency, as well as what is that one major item that isn't ongoing during this shutdown, let's first go to the Treasury/IRS. This is the idea the tax season is meeting a padlock. What does this mean? Well, Treasury is unfunded, and that includes the IRS. And according to shutdown reporting, the IRS is expected to shutter just days into the tax season. What does this mean? Well, you are looking at a refund timeline that could go from soon to eventually to where is your refund? And remember, you have contact numbers and everything else at the IRS that will also shut down. Let's get to number two. HHS, specifically NIH and CDC. Scientific research is hitting a pause. At Health and Human Services, one of the biggest immediate impacts is federally backed scientific research is halting. What does that mean? That means labs, studies, research activity, all are slamming on the brakes because of the funding lapses. The work can't always continue. Now, let's get to the third one, HUD. This is housing assistance at risk. And over there, the shutdown reporting is warning that money for housing assistance programs could be at risk, especially brutal in the wake of major winter weather and emergencies. So if you've been wondering, is this partial government shutdown a real government shutdown? The answer is yeah. I mean, we're thinking about taxes, research and development, and housing support. I mean, these aren't exactly optional side quests for the federal government. These are all being paused or completely slowed down. Now, if you've been listening this long, you're probably in government contracting, so gather around. This is your moment. You need to shine because this is where the winners always shine in government shutdowns. So if your customer sits in the not funded list, expect some combination of the following. Stop work orders, delays in approvals, contracting officer availability dropping. By the way, government staff dropping is probably just a good way to look at that in general. New awards and new obligations slowing down hard. And here's the part nobody puts on a bumper sticker. Even if you're ready to perform, the government may not be allowed to receive, approve, or pay you the way you're used to during this lapse. And here's your quick shutdown playbook. Do this now. Check your contract and funding status. Make sure it's either incremental funding versus fully funded matters. Get everything in writing. Email your core, email your CEO, document directions. Track costs carefully, especially if work continues under direction. And four, this is a big one. Don't assume that silence equals yes. Let me say that again. Don't assume that silence equals yes. Silence during government shutdowns often means everybody's been furloughed or nobody's here to respond to your question. This is, by the way, where your program managers, your project managers on the government contract are going to learn the ancient art of doing nothing but doing it aggressively. So that's the shutdown in plain English. Some agencies are funded and operating, others are in limbo, and the real world pain points show up fast. IRS, research, and housing assistance among them. And there's plenty more that we go into in the link below in the full report. Now, if you want, we're going to post a quick update the moment funding changes, because in Washington, your Monday can become a Tuesday plot twist immediately. So drop a comment below. Which agency affects you most? Taxes, travel, contracts, research, housing, you name it, put it down below. And if you're a contractor, tell me this. Did you get a stop work yet? And if you did, which agency gave you that stop work? Thanks for watching. As always, make sure to please like, subscribe to this channel. It really, really helps us. And as always, if you got a comment, we try to respond to every single comment as they come in. Thanks for watching.